Hey, dig it, diggy, 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 diggy.
That was an unusual opening. How's it going? Welcome back to Winning City Digits.
It's gotta be different.
That's Vic. I'm Carl. And Bulls win tonight. Back end of a back-to-back. They win tonight 106-88. The starters weren't that great again, but the bench was awesome. You got anything to say?
I'm enjoying the music and the silence. I like it when you don't talk.
I don't talk over. I can't stand talking over this music.
I know, that's why
I'm sure the listeners are enjoying it too. Skulks, what's going on, brother? So the starters tonight.
Jeez. Dude, I'm having problems with my Wi-Fi. Hey, the starters, it didn't matter.
It
did not matter.
Yeah, I guess it didn't matter tonight. But yeah, the bench scored 49 points. Javonte Green was your leading scorer tonight with 17 points. Jeffrey, what's going on? Thanks for checking in. Dragic was good again, actually really good. 16 points, 2 for 2 from threes. Actually, 2 for 4 from threes. Derek Jones Jr. with 10 points off the bench. Because of injuries and stuff like that, Donovan only played 9 tonight. I thought maybe tonight would have been a good night to get Dalen Terry in there, but the bench was playing so well.
He did at the very end, the last minute and a half. I didn't understand why we had our starters in there so long. It made no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. But
dudes, yo.
DeMar was only 2. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, look at the 3-point percentage for us tonight, man.
That was all the bench.
That was solid.
Javonte was 3 for 3. Goran Dragic was 2 for 4. Caruso was 1 for 2. DJ was 2 for 2. So between those, let's see, quick math.
DJJ in the house.
They were 8 for 11. The bench was 8 for 11 from 3.
Let's go here, man. I thought Javonte was 10 for 10. Oh, no, he was 7 for 7. Sorry. Little adding problem. All right. So, hey, 6 guys in double figures?
Yeah. But again,
6.
3 guys off the bench. Zach had 10, barely. Vooch had 14. Patrick Williams had 16.
Zach had a very poor shooting night, but so did Vooch. So did DeRozan. So did Io. But you're right. The bench was solid. And guess what? Guess how many assists we had?
Well, yeah, because we had a really high percentage of scoring.
27.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We assisted. We had 28 assists on 38 baskets.
Look at all these great digits we're sharing with you.
Look, Jeffrey's comment here about Zach playing the back-to-back. Look, it was great that Zach played the back-to-back, but I'm still sticking to my story here. Like those guys that are playing big minutes, the starters, their shooting was terrible. They didn't have any legs tonight. Iowa was 3 for 10.
Story.
Yeah, for the starters, they were. Look, if it wasn't for the bench, we would have been blown out tonight.
Zach was plus 19.
Plus 9. Zach was plus 19, but it was 4 for 16 from the field.
Yeah, I know, but he was playing with the second string. That's why he was plus 19.
Yeah, I mean,
he had 5 assists.
Actually had 6 assists on there. But again, look, the starters have had a couple of rough games. Tonight, the bench saved them. But, thankfully we have a good bench, solid enough, and that's without Kobe, that's without Drummond.
Mm-hmm.
They came in and gave a good solid effort tonight, right? So
the
starters have to be better.
Okay, so positives: Patrick Williams, has progressively gotten better and better. 16 and what is he? 16 and 5. Last game was he 14 and 7, something like that. That's the guy we need every game. He should be averaging this every game.
Look, Patrick Williams needs to be this guy when DeMar and Zach are also playing well. He seems to be this guy when neither one of those guys are playing, or when DeMar or Zach have a bad game, and then he doesn't have a problem kind of stepping up.
He just did this. He just did this yesterday, and Zach had 29 points.
DeMar, well, he scored
DeMar had 20.
Yeah, but he scored like 12 yesterday, right? Like I think it was 12, 13 points he scored yesterday.
I thought it was 15 and 7 or something like that, quite honestly. But Pat is getting his confidence back. I mean, he was 7 of 9 for the game.
Look, I'm not taking anything away from his game tonight. What I'm saying is
you are. You are. You're being a pain.
Here we go. I want him to be like this when DeMar and Zach are also on.
We all do.
That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you.
Right? So,
but you can't take away a good game from Pat when we've been, crying as Bulls fans. Like, where's Pat's aggressiveness going to be coming? It's coming. It's been the last 3 or 4 games. He's finally showed some life. Someone got the paddles out on him and they shocked him. And he's like, "Oh, hey, I'm a big guy, man. I can drive the ball to the hoop. I can shoot threes. I can block some shots. I can cut to the basket. Holy cow."
Friday will be a big test for him because we're playing Boston on Friday night in prime time. Let's see how Patrick is on Friday night. He's been great the last couple of games. I'm not taking that away from him. I want to see what he's like on Friday night under the bright lights. Right?
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Jeffrey says that's more than fair to have those expectations of Pat.
When Zach and DeMar are shooting well.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, but look, he's one of those guys that was in double digits tonight. He was, leading scorer of the starters. He has 16 points. Vooch had 14. Zach had 10. DeMar had 9. DeMar had 5 turnovers tonight. Vooch had 4 turnovers. Zach was good. He had 6 assists, no turnovers.
Well, DeMar had 8 rebounds. That's uncharacteristic of him too. But they missed a lot of shots.
Yeah.
When you're missing a lot of shots and getting a rebound off the rim, putting it up again, that's going to happen. Hey, so the Bulls are going to be playing the Celtics, like you said. They lost to Cleveland. Cleveland is hot.
Yeah, it was an overtime game tonight that they played.
Cleveland is for real, man.
Yeah, we kind of said that in the offseason, right? That when they added Donovan Mitchell to that team, he gave them that number 1 scoring option or to surround all that talent that they had. And it took a lot of pressure off of those other guys. And those other guys just are now able to do what they need to do. Mobley, Darius Garland, those guys are just able to focus. They don't have to worry about necessarily scoring points, even though Garland was the leading scorer tonight with 29 points.
Yeah. Hey, my favorite part of the game, by the way, of the Bulls game was Dragic. Dragic goes up to the middle. I think it was at the top of the key, goes around his back, spins around. I don't know who was guarding him, and lays it up. Finessely hits the front of the rim, and it goes in. That guy's pretty smooth. And he gets some pretty good, meaningful points for the amount of minutes he plays.
He's like the original Luka. He's really good with the ball. He distributes. He makes almost practically perfect passes almost every single time.
Oh, I like this comparison. This is a great comparison. He does have some Ginobili qualities, although Ginobili could get up and dunk over people.
Yeah,
from time to time.
right.
I don't think Dragic could get up anymore.
He doesn't need to. You
No,
know,
man. No, he's smooth.
he's perfectly fine exactly where
Smooth
he's at, right?
operator.
Um,
Smooth operator.
so the Bulls. It was good to see the Bulls win the back to back, especially coming home tonight, and Zach playing the second game. That's a good positive sign. Let's see what happens on Friday. Again, it's a tough stretch playing 3 games in 4 nights. I know some of you guys out here. I know um, some of these guys that normally watch us are saying like, look, it's still early in the season. They shouldn't be tired, but Stacy's
Yeah.
mentioned it a couple times, right? It's tough playing 3 games in 4 nights in this league.
No, I think they've had a pretty grueling start of the season. 2 weeks into it, or is it 3 weeks?
Yeah, about 3 weeks
Yeah,
in.
yeah. I think it's been kind of challenging, especially with all the injuries. They're logging a lot of minutes.
Hmm.
But hey, we're trending upward.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of good signs. I don't know what you guys think out there in the chat, but um, you know, getting through this stretch and 1 game over 500, I'm happy with it. You know,
Yeah,
you would have thought it was the opposite. Like the teams we beat, like Miami and Boston and Brooklyn, you would have thought we would have lost to those teams, and we would have beat teams like Washington in Cleveland.
hmm
And but it's been the exact opposite. So that's a good
yeah.
sign.
I agree. I don't think Brooklyn is a very good team right now. So, but beating Miami and Boston was huge. If we could beat Boston again, I'm like, hey, we're a different team than last year because we weren't beating these teams last year.
Yeah, Jeffrey, like to this point, right?
Oh,
Look,
48 minutes.
I think what
he's
we learned. Look, I think what we
he's
learned from last
he's
year.
being facetious, man.
Look,
He's
but
messing with you.
look. I'm telling you that what we've learned from last year is
I'm
that
telling you, no new taxes.
you're in top form tonight. Uh, it's more important to have these guys at the end of the year than at the start of the year. That's all I got.
Yeah, yeah. All right, if they're healthy.
So
Yeah.
let's see what this is. Definitely trending upwards. Role players pumped on his team. Levine gets healthy and DeRozan don't get too set in ISO sets. Glad he didn't force it today. Yeah, there were some bad shots. There were some bad shots that they were missing, taking and missing. But DeMar has earned a bad game every once in a while. With the way he's been playing. So
All
thankfully we
three of
have a
them.
bench.
All three of them were tired.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
hopefully they'll be able to get some rest tonight, tomorrow, before they take off for Boston on Friday. Let's see how that game plays out. For those of you that are new here,
Solid bench, buddy.
yeah, solid bench. Bench was great tonight. Bench mob 2.0.
So new here.
Yeah, so these are new here. Normally on Wednesday nights, normally we do Wildcard Wednesday, but we kind of combined it tonight with the Bulls post game. Just a couple things to mention because we haven't really, and we've done some videos on it already. Day after, what do you think of the Claypool trade? Day after, is it still sitting good with you? Do you think we gave up too much?
No, not. We didn't give up too much considering what's going to be out there in the off season.
I thought about this today. I think the funny thing is now that there was rumors or reports that the Packers offered up their number 2 for next year. If things play out, it could work out that Green Bay's pick could be better than our number 2 if they keep on that track. We may end up with a better record than Green Bay, and with the way they're playing, and it could turn out that had they gone with Green Bay, they might have gotten the better pick. But who knows? We'll see how that plays out, right?
I just put it up, buddy.
Sorry,
Go ahead. Put it back up. Roquan was shocked. You know what? I was off the grid almost all the day until the Bulls game. So I don't know what he said, but if he literally was shocked, well, we know he's had some emotional issues back when he started with the Bears. I'm sorry, but you can't when people are like that, where they're shocked about stuff like that. They're not living in reality. Roquan is not living in reality.
No.
But
Look,
we did talk. Go
he
ahead.
wasn't living in reality when he decided to represent himself, and thinking he could negotiate a $20 million contract per year extension. That was really the start of it. And I give credit to Ryan Poles, right? I mean, he read it perfectly. He offered what he thought was fair market value for a player of his caliber at his position. And I saw a lot of things on Twitter today. It's right. You don't build around your linebackers. Too many past Bears teams have built around the defense. It's refreshing now to think that they're going to build around the offense.
Well, we'll see about that.
I don't see
yeah. I mean, I'm glad they got Claypool. That's a start.
Yeah.
I mean, they drafted Braxton Jones, great, 5th rounder. They had a lot of needs. So the offseason, then I'll see if they're building around Justin Fields and building a better offense than the Bears have ever really had.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited for the game on Sunday too. See what they come up with this week. Against the Dolphins.
I don't know. I'd be surprised how much he'd play. Maybe 25% of the game.
Well, he was at practice today.
Yeah.
He was at practice today. He said he was kind of going through the playbook. If he's on the outside, I'm sure there's going to be plays and sets. I think it's just a matter of knowing the terminology, really, more than anything else. But even the threat of being out there should open it up. And I agree with Jeffrey. It should definitely open it up for Mooney this week. Just having Claypool on the field, and kind of having guys now where they should be, having that outside receiver. So we'll see. What's this comment? I didn't see what this is.
Can't you just put it up? This teenager boy talking about Atlanta Hawks versus Chicago Bulls trash. Do you want to bring it?
Are you saying that the Bulls are trash and that the Hawks are a good team? I'm not going to doubt that, right? They're a good team right now, but
they're a good team.
Yeah. I mean, the East is stacked. Thanks for checking in, Walter, by the way. But the East is stacked. So
Atlanta's 4-3, man. We're 5-4.
Yeah, a lot of it is you have to see where where you end up playing these games now. Look, every game counts, right? But I want to see what happens when we're playing like in March and April.
Atlanta's defense is terrible.
Well, they're an offensive scoring team. All they do is let them score, and then they just run it back.
I know. I don't fear the Atlanta Hawks. I think the Bulls have a better team than the Hawks.
They have a better bench.
Yeah, I don't fear the Hawks at all.
All right. So
in fact, the only team I fear right now, honestly, is Milwaukee and Cleveland.
Yeah. Cleveland is one team to worry about. I think if Boston can kind of get back into the rhythm, they're a team to worry about.
They would be, yeah.
And the Sixers you have to worry about because we just can't beat Embiid.
Yeah, hey, we didn't. Honestly, I think if we had Drummond in that game, we would have beat him. That's just my guess.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
But until then, you got to worry about it. Like, look, in a 7-game series,
how do we get back to the Bulls?
Because of this comment from Walter. Yeah. Just real quick, like in a 7-game series, it would be tough to beat them 4 games, even with Drummond, just because of the record we have against Embiid.
True. No. Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. So
hey, Claypool. So, one of the things we were talking about in one of our videos was Claypool has a high percentage of his receptions deeper down the field. And that's exactly what the Bears need, what Justin Fields needs to spread the field more, to give Mooney and whoever's our third now. Who is our third? Who's our once Claypool is starting next to Mooney, who's our third? Aquaman?
Um, I would like it to be N'Keal Harry.
Oh, that's not a bad idea, man.
I would like it to be N'Keal Harry, but Pringle is supposed to be able to come off the IR this week also.
What's the Pringles
Um,
song? Do you know the Pringles
so
song?
if you could have Pringle back this week also, that gives you, 5 pretty good receivers, um,
Yeah.
decent receivers, right? I mean, that gives you N'Keal Harry, Byron Pringle,
Komet.
Comenius St. Brown. And then you throw in Komet also, that gives you 6, because then that gives you also Claypool and Mooney. So
So
that
what do you
gives you
think
6
about
targets.
what do you think about Claypool choosing your former QB's jersey?
Number
Are you
10?
upset? Yeah, you upset at all? I mean,
No, I'm not. I literally
are
changed the
you
name off the back of my jersey.
you're gonna you like wiped it off?
I literally just put tape over it and it says Claypool.
Did you do some kind of ironing or something, or did you do shrinky dinks and put it on the back side of your jersey?
I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Right?
I want Velus
So,
Jones to, yeah.
Jeffrey, one other thing they were mentioning out there that it was interesting was, line them up in the backfield. Put him as a third down back.
Dennis Gentry, yes.
Yeah, or like a Cohen type player, right?
Yeah,
Like Tariq.
yeah. I think you're right, man.
You know,
He had some good positive yards the other game on what I think two catches.
yeah, and he scored his one touchdown on a running play on an end around. So find creative ways to use him.
I
Because
think so too. Until he gets some confidence, and I don't know. He still didn't have problems catching in college. I know it's different in the NFL in terms of pressures, but I think he's going to get more opportunities in the future. I don't think he's relegated to being that person.
did you see the one stat about Claypool that in the past 3 years he is the number one receiver as far as catching contested footballs, as far as like 50-50 balls?
No,
He's
I
the
didn't see that.
he's the number one percentage of catching those balls.
So I
Um,
did see some clips of him, some highlights of him like that. And what are you doing, man? I click on it, it appears, and
I'm gonna
then
let you
it's
manage it right now.
then it's gone. So yeah, I saw some highlights, but highlights. I mean, they're just showing the best catches, and he's been in the league 4 years. So I didn't know that, but the highlights certainly dictated that he has good hands. Like he's catching balls with one hand, a guy on his other side of his body, 2 hands up in the air, and the guy is already on top of him. So he seems to be able to catch contested passes quite nicely, which is great for some of our challenges that we've had this year, like Darnell Mooney on the end zone.
Are you doing like I don't
I'm
get it.
trying. I'm trying to send you signals so you shut up. It's not working. It's like shut up. Yeah. What else? Hey. Let's unless people have something to talk about the Bears, we people don't necessarily want to talk about baseball, so we've been kind of just trying to concentrate on Bears Bulls. But since we're here, see, we went down to one as soon as I mentioned baseball. the
Two.
White Sox.
Yep.
Uh,
We got our guy.
that's your guy, huh?
Supposedly this is our guy.
You're sold on the bench coach from Kansas City Royals, right?
Yeah, like everything I've seen and I've read so far, he seems to check all the boxes.
What boxes
You know,
did you? So what did Hans say about who they wanted?
They wanted a guy with recent bench experience,
They,
someone that's bilingual.
they said clubhouse experience. So yeah, some
Uh,
people were initially thinking that they meant someone who was a manager.
Um, and then they wanted someone that did not have a White Sox DNA. So they wanted someone, he really wanted someone that was not um, associated with the White Sox in the past, any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
So he checks all three of those boxes. He was on the coaching staff for the Kansas City Royals World Series team. And then he's also really good because he started out as a um, like a farm club or development coach or manager. So I guess one of the expertises he has is developing young talent. Um, so from that aspect, from all those 5 areas, he seemed to check all the boxes as far as what they were looking for.
Pedro
Right.
Griffel. Pedro
Mm-hmm.
Griffel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, the next big step, I think, for the Sox and Cubs is this offseason. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I'm extremely excited about the Cubs' chances. I think as a Sox fan, you should be excited about some changes coming up for the White Sox and hopefully getting back to where they were 2 years ago. Hopefully that first half of the season
So
and
look,
playing like that kind of ball.
I know we're live right now, but I think we should do a video on this. And Jeffrey, you're here, and whoever else is listening on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. Do you think this is the best group of general managers we've had for all Chicago major sports teams? And I know you don't follow hockey, but I'll even throw in the Blackhawks. So for the Cubs, Sox, Bears, Bulls, and Blackhawks, do you think this is the best set of general managers we've ever had at the same time?
Too early to say. Let me think. Let's think about the early '80s when we had '84 Cubs, '83 Sox, '85 Bears.
Bulls
Yeah,
weren't
but
that great.
that's true. So the thing is though, we're not. I mean, like you look at all. If you there was a power ranking of all the major league teams, and the Chicago teams were all of them were 50 to 100. There were, I think the Sox were the highest rated out of all those teams, including higher rated than the Bulls. It was like Sox, Cubs, Bulls, Bears. I don't know
Yeah.
where the Blackhawks were. So as much as we think there's like progress on our teams, um, I think you're right, but like I think time will tell another year or two, and you very well might prove it just by their success.
Like,
What do you think?
like, well, Skokes mentioned it here, right? I mean,
Jeffrey says yes.
yeah, Jeffrey says yes. Skokes, I mean, I know you don't follow hockey, but uh,
I
the
do when they're
Blackhawks,
good.
the Blackhawks at the beginning of the year traded Alex DeBrincat, which is one of their better young players and really good talent. And I thought that was like, okay, this is a rebuild, and Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves are going to be next to go. But they've had a very surprising start and very competitive. And they're actually in the playoffs right now. I can't remember the last time over the last 2 or 3 years where they were even in the spot, but they look like they're going to be competitive all year. The
They're in
Bulls
the
are where
play.
they're
Sure.
at,
Just say they're in
right?
the playoffs right now.
Listen, they are. If it's one of those questions, like if the season ended today, they'd be in the playoffs,
Yeah, it's a
right?
little early. It's a little
Um,
early for
but
that.
but my point is that at any
They're
point in the
doing
last
well.
no, but I mean any point in the last 2 years, they were never in that position. In the last 2 years, they were always outside looking in.
Oh, right now they
Right from the
wouldn't.
start of the season,
Right now they wouldn't make the playoffs at this point. By the
they
way,
would be in.
Well, I'm looking. Okay, so I'm looking at it as at a conference, not as their division. So hold on.
Yeah. So yeah, Skokes, the coach has come in and made a pretty good impact right now. So they're 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 kind of trending a little upward. Well, let's see what the season brings. If you look at the Bears from the beginning of the season until now, there seems to be a lot more optimism about this team with the trades that and the moves that Ryan Poles has made. I know a lot of people, some people are upset that we got rid of Roquan, that we got rid of Quinn, we got rid of some of these players. And
Ah,
but
they weren't winning with him.
there seems to be a lot more people are optimistic than not. The Bulls seem to be on the right path. The Cubs, you're excited about your Cubs next year, and the Sox are the same way. Like now we've got the players in place. We just need a manager. And I was going to bring up too, the Phillies.
Not true.
What?
You need more than a manager.
I was just going to say the Phillies are going to prove my point because the Phillies fired their manager at the beginning of the season when they were like 10 games under 500. They brought in a different manager, but basically the same team. And look where they are right now.
It's just that's just terrible. It's you know what, honestly, it's a lot is should be on those Chicago Sox players. I just don't have a lot of faith in the Chicago Sox players. You know what, honestly, we put way too much blame on coaches. Coaches don't make that big of a difference in terms of plus and minuses in the win columm, man. I
I
think they've done.
totally disagree.
I think I think if you no, I think that's factual too. I will look up information about that, and we will do a podcast just on that. What
I don't.
coaches mean in the plus minus culture, yes, but you know what? You're a player, man. You need to train the right way. You need to go out there and hustle. You need to take. I mean, you're getting paid millions of dollars. These guys are like prima donnas. I don't see every team being like this. Um, if the Sox truly had talent, they should have been better than where they were this year. And it's not just on the coach. So I know you disagree.
Do you think the Cubs would have been, in the second half with the team that they have? Do you
Mhm.
think that was mostly because of the players, or that because of the culture that Rossi created and the way he's managing that team? That's why they produced in the second half.
I'm sure it's a little bit of a combination, but the players produced. There wasn't a lot of stress on them. I mean, I think that's a little bit of it. They're naive. Um,
So the way you
you
put
got a
it,
lot. You got a lot of guys trying to. You got a lot of guys trying to prove themselves too. So
so the way you're putting it, you're
you're trying to
basically
catch me.
no look. You're basically telling me that players that get paid this large amount of money to play baseball, that all these players should be hitting 280, 290 and above. Pitchers should have an ERA less than 3. That,
That's okay. So that's irrational.
but you're saying it's on the players,
Yes.
right?
Yep. Yeah, it is. If you have a
So,
whole team underperforming, it's on the players. Honestly, that was the Cubs. That was the Cubs' downfall too. I mean, we thought we had good talent. We had one good year, and they underperformed continuously. And it didn't matter what coach we had. I mean, that we had Ross for a little bit with those guys. They weren't performing with him either. There was a coach change. Um, I didn't really like the initial hire of Ross because I don't like the fact that he was actually teammates of these guys that he was playing with, and that he was going to now have to lead. And they got rid of all of them. And the Cubs could have kept two of those main horses and built around them. Still got some picks, and I think they would be. I don't think I complacent. I just don't think they were as good as we thought they were.
so someone like Kyle Schwarber right now.
Schwarber was good. I would have kept Schwarber.
Chris Bryant seems to have been riddled with injuries, right?
I honestly would have kept Bryant and Schwarber.
Rizzo seems to be
Traded
doing
everybody
okay
else.
Rizzo seems to be doing okay in New York.
He is, but I think you'd be concerned about signing Rizzo with the back he has, and sometime soon he's going to be breaking down more and more. So, but he did. He had a good year.
Yeah,
He had a good start.
I don't remember any of the other pitchers off that team, to be honest. So I don't know about the pitching staff that was on that team.
I don't know if we're lucky to get. We are. I think in hindsight, I liked Javi. I loved Javi, but getting rid of Bryant, I'm not. I don't know. Just from that 1 year. That's really tells a story if that was going to be a good move. Bryant, I think is going to be an MVP type player again.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I think that's a good topic for another time. We've got a couple good topics there for another podcast. But anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in tonight for Bulls post game / Wildcard Wednesday. Skokes, Storm, Jeffrey, a couple other people, Walter. And then
Walter Smith,
the Snake Man,
the Snake, the Dragon.
If you haven't had a chance to hit the like, definitely helps us out here on the channel.
Hit the notifications.
Hit the bell to get notified on future episodes. We will see you guys in the next video. Peace,
love,
and digits.